50 seconds now until liftoff. That FTS you heard is flight termination.
SpaceX, go for launch.
SpaceX, this is Resilient. Roger, go.
Go for launch, and at 37 seconds, the International Space Station flying over Kennedy Space Center.
Crew line for all.
Crew Dragon poised to go catch it. "20 seconds till liftoff.
T-minus 15 seconds. Falcon 9 is configured for flight. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And resilience rises. Not even gravity contains humanity when we explore as one for all.
And one propulsion is nominal.
That's the word we want to hear. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Plus 30 seconds into this historic mission, flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9. Stage 1 is preparing to throttle down. This is in preparation for max Q, which is maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Stage 1, throttle down.
There's that call out for throttle down.
Power and telemetry continue to be nominal for the vehicle, now traveling at 262 meters per second.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
There's that call out the Falcon 9 is supersonic, and we will be passing through max Q very shortly, the largest structural load during ascent.
Max Q.
And there's that call out. That Falcon has passed through max Q.
And we've just entered Stage 1 Bravo abort mode. That's going to take them through the end of the first stage burning just before second stage activates off the coast of North Carolina. Plus 1 minute and 40 seconds into flight, Dragon and Falcon 9 traveling 709 meters per second. That call that MVAC chill is underway, the Merlin vacuum engine.
That was the call out of MVAC chilling, similar to what we saw in the first stage Merlin engine.
Incredible images there as Falcon 9 rocket is propelling the Crew Dragon capsule to the ISS. You have been listening to the official NASA feed and also bits of mission control. David Curley, you are at the launch site at Cape Canaveral. I can imagine no matter how many times you witness a launch, especially a night launch, it is always exciting.
This never gets old. It never gets old, Chris. I'm telling you what a fantastic launch. You know, we saw it go off at 0 and we could watch it for 17 seconds before we started to hear it. And then at about 30 seconds, I could feel my pants and my shirt just vibrating as it just rips apart the air as those 9 Merlin engines just take it up. There you go. We've had MECO and we've had separation, and this is the second stage, which is now firing up. And that's going to take them into the orbit they need to be at before they start to head to the space station. And pretty soon, SpaceX and NASA will flip these pictures, and we're going to watch. There, you can see right there on the left side of your screen. That is the first stage. There are 4 grid fins. It is starting to come back down to Earth. There'll be a sonic boom, and it's going to land. All of this is a 9-minute trip uphill for the space capsule, and a little more than 9 minutes for that first stage to come back and land on the barge. You got to come next time, Chris. This is just awesome, and it looks like everything is going to plan so far.
I can't tell you how jealous I am that you're there in person, David Curley. On the left, as you said, we saw the Stage 1 separate. That will return to Earth. On the right side of your screen is the Stage 2, that single Merlin rocket that is continuing to propel the Crew Dragon capsule. Christian Davenport, give us your thoughts.
It was amazing. I mean, as David said, you felt it in your chest. It lit up the sky. I was here on the balcony with all of the VIPs, the vice president not far away. You could hear the cheering, the oohs and the ahs. It was just incredible. And now we're seeing, not just that second stage engine glowing, just, beautifully bright red, but we'll see soon that first stage coming back. Now, the recovery of that first stage is sort of a bonus to be able to reuse the stages. But in this case, recovering this first stage is particularly important, Chris, because they want to reuse this first stage, the Crew 1 first stage, in the Crew 2 mission, the next mission of crews in March. So that's what's one of the big milestones that's going to be coming up next. And so far, everything is looking really good. It is just tearing a hole through the sky, Chris. Just awesome.
Unbelievable velocity there, as you can see from the meter on your screen. It will eventually get all the way up to 17,500 miles per hour. Garrett Reisman, I'd like to bring you in as a member of the SpaceX family. This has got to fill you with an awful lot of pride seeing the successful launch.
Awful lot of pride, but I'll be honest with you, also, I'm a bundle of nerves watching this. I think if you really understand how difficult this is and the physics involved, when there's people sitting on top of there, especially people that it changes the emotions of it tremendously. And, we passed through a lot of the big hurdles, the maximum aerodynamic pressure, we had successful staging, lighting of the second stage, but until SECO, until the end of the second engine cutoff, and we're inserted into a good, stable orbit, my heart's still going to be in my throat all the way up to the end.
Well, Garrett, talk a little bit more about that. Give us some technical aspects of what we're looking at on our screen right now, the Stage 2 engine.
So the Stage 2 engine is burning, and is burning that bright, so that's how it rejects the heat. It doesn't have a cooling system in the nozzle itself like we have in the first stage. It does it just by glowing so red hot. And it's pushing really hard. They're going to get up to 4.5 Gs as they get towards the end of the second stage, which is about the same as you felt on Soyuz or Apollo, but considerably more than we felt on the space shuttle, which was limited to no more than 3 Gs. So they're going to feel this really good as they approach the end, and then suddenly at the second engine cutoff, if everything goes well, the engine will shut off instantaneously, and feel like they'll be propelled forward in their seats. But they're not. They're just no longer being held down in their seat, and they're going to be up in 0 G.
Leland, let's bring you in for your insight. At this point in the launch experience, how does that feel? You've now jettisoned that first stage engine. I know that you were in the space shuttle. How would that be different from this crew inside the Crew Dragon capsule?
Yeah, I mean, when we jettisoned the solid rocket boosters, the ride got a lot smoother. There was a lot of motion. My head was moving. I could barely see the screens. But at that 2.5 minute mark, the solid rocket boosters jettisoned got smoother, and then we went through a throttling point where we throttled down to 3 Gs because you can't exceed 3 Gs or the structure will come apart. And so we went through that. And then, I'm thinking right now about the resilience is going to space, and we've gone through these pandemics and all these things, and these guys are an example of what humanity looks like going to space. And that's what I'm feeling so much pride and so much optimism about for the future of humanity with resilience and this crew.
And as we cross the 18,000 kilometers per hour mark, we've reached that entry burn. Peggy, I'd like to bring you in. Give us an idea of what the crew is looking at right now. What sort of view do they have outside the Dragon capsule, if any?
Well, right now, they're probably still enough on the dark side of the planet that they're only seeing maybe city lights if they can see out those windows, but probably not even that at this point. But interestingly, they'll be coming into a sunrise here shortly, and I think that's always impressive that, you fly into the sunrise at traveling very quickly, and it's amazing to come across and see that light come into the vehicle.
And Mike Massimino, at this point, Victor Glover is probably having quite the experience being his first time into space. Can you relate to him, and what was your first launch into space like?
Well, I think, I can absolutely relate to Victor. I'm really happy for him. He is really excited, I can guarantee it, and elated of what's going on, but it also is kind of a blur. And my so new, going into space for the first time, that it went by so quickly that it made me really want to do it a second time. So I was looking forward to my second flight even more than the first one.
And just before we cut to the shot of mission control, you could see that second stage Merlin engine. The glow kind of wore off a little bit as we had that second stage engine cut off there. So soon there'll be that separation as the Crew Dragon capsule goes into orbit. Christian Davenport, please weigh in.
Well, we're going to watch the first stage coming back to land. This is normal where it gets cut out because the engine is on the camera, but we'll see the smoke clear. And there it is, successful landing of the first stage. But perhaps more importantly, we have nominal orbital insertion. We just heard that. That means that the spacecraft is in the second stage or in a good orbit. You see that second stage engine has cut off, Chris. So far, so good from launch through first stage and second stage separation. And they're landing on the drone ship, which is just absolutely remarkable. I have to say, these guys at SpaceX are getting pretty good at what they're doing. And there we have a view of the crew inside. They look happy and healthy, monitoring the health of the spacecraft, communicating with the controllers on the ground, checking their trajectory, checking all the sensors, making sure that they are okay. There are touch screens inside the Crew Dragon spacecraft. You can see them. It's like an iPhone. And their gloves, this is pretty cool, their gloves will work on those touch screens. So you see the astronauts in there in those cool, sleek spacesuits, Chris.
Yeah, that's a really cool shot of inside the Crew Dragon capsule. And David Curley, we keep hearing this word nominal over and over again. That, of course, means everything is going normally and according to plan. But let's talk a little bit about that Falcon 9 rocket returning to that barge. It's almost like a magic trick. You know, the smoke clears, and then there it is. Incredible technology.
Yeah, dude, that's wild. It is, and I just was loving watching Shannon Walker there, the bottom left of your